Sitting at the kitchen table, with my fist clenched around the package, I felt the world shift for the second time. I found myself reassessing everything I had believed in and known to be true, all over again. I had gone more than a year without thinking about it too much, but then on March 28th I turned 18, and once again it hit me that I didn't really know who I was anymore. There should not be surprises like this, no moment when a girl has to look at her dad differently. I had to hear the life-changing words. I had to reevaluate myself and my whole family. You aren't related. I just shut down. I didn't let it sink in because I didn't want it to. A year earlier, a month before my 17th birthday, my parents sat me down and told me I was not biologically related to my father, the only man I had ever called Dad. It felt like time had stopped. I didn't want to think about it, so I shut it out, pretended like it had never happened. My family played along. After all, they had kept it a secret my entire life. So when I walked into my house on my 18th birthday, I wasn't expecting anything from my secret past to make an appearance. My thoughts were somewhere else when I absent-mindedly looked through the mail on the table. I perked up when I noticed a thick package with my name on it among the bills and junk. I assumed that it was a present from some relative arriving just in time. When I tore it open, 3 different cards spelled out on my kitchen table. Slightly puzzled, but still barely hesitating, I opened the first card and began reading. There was the usual happy birthday wishes, followed by another note reading, "Keep an open mind." I skipped to the end, where it was signed with a name I didn't recognize, a last name I knew belonged to someone who wasn't in my family. Suddenly, my heart was racing, and I could feel the cards shaking in my hands. It took another minute for my mind to catch up to what my body had already realized. I quickly flipped through the other cards, reading similar messages from this man who had wished for years that he could send these cards. But it wasn't until this day, 18 years after he walked away from my mother, that he decided he could come back. I sat with the cards in my hands for a few more minutes until I finally realized that it was all real. This was not a TV sitcom that I used to watch from the safety of my own living room. It was happening to me, and now I had to accept it. There was no longer the option to shut it out as I had done the year earlier. In that moment of epiphany, I also came to see that I wasn't sure who I was anymore. Half of my family was now only family by marriage. I felt like an outsider in my own world. The weight of the paper became unbearable, and I dropped the cards to the table. Where did half my genes come from? How has no one ever told me this before? Surely all the adults in my family must have known. They had never mentioned anything regarding the odd dynamics of our family before. I had denied it for too long until it built up without me even being conscious of it. Receiving the cards from my estranged biological father was the wake-up call I needed. I didn't even want to use the word father to describe this man. When I finally got the courage to ask my mom about it, I half believed she would have no idea what I was talking about. I was still wondering if it had been a dream, something out of a book I had read. Everyone went back to acting completely normal, and there I was, with hard proof that this was happening to me. She was horrified that he had succeeded in getting through to me. After he asked if he could send something for my birthday, my mom had the regular mail held for a week to avoid the inevitable confrontation. He found a way around it when she refused him the permission to send cards. As she tells me this over the phone, I look down at the envelope and see UPS written across the top. He found a way to go behind her back. What sort of message does that send to me? This man I have to admit I'm related to is nothing like me. I suddenly resolved never to let this person into my life when he feels like making an appearance. After 18 years of virtually no contact or knowledge that he even existed, I decided our future relationship, or lack thereof, would be on my terms.